Every year in India, millions of students put their entire future on the line for one single exam, the NEET UG. It's their one shot at becoming a doctor. And yeah, we always hear about the big, crazy cheating scandals. But today we're going to talk about something else, a threat that's way quieter and maybe, just maybe, a whole lot more dangerous to the system itself.
So, here's a question for you. What could possibly be worse than a huge, nationwide cheating scandal? It really gets you thinking about what makes the system trustworthy in the first place. And look, the answer isn't some Hollywood-style criminal mastermind plot. It's something way more common.
And that's it, right there. The real danger isn't one big explosion. It's the constant drip, drip, drip of small, everyday screw-ups. They're like these tiny little cracks in the foundation of a building. The kind you don't really pay attention to until the whole thing starts to wobble. And that's pretty much what's happening here. Okay, so let's just forget about the big, flashy scandals for a minute. An internal review of the NEET UG exam has uncovered a much quieter and, frankly, much more unsettling story about the actual state of India's testing system. Now, the most important thing to get here is when this all went down. This was during what you'd call a good year, a year with no major cheating scandal making headlines. And yet what they found? Wow, it was bad. The system wasn't under some sophisticated attack from the outside. It was basically tripping over its own feet, failing at the most basic stuff.
All right, so when we say the system is tripping over itself, what does that even mean? What does it actually look like? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the failures they found on the ground.
And the list of what they found is it's mind-boggling. We are talking about the fundamentals. CCTVs, the cameras that are supposed to be watching everything, just not working. The strong rooms where they keep the exam papers locked up tight, not properly monitored. In some places, more than half the cameras were offline, and even when they were on, some were literally just pointed at a wall. And get this, in a bunch of locations, the teams that were hired to watch the live video feeds couldn't even log in to do their one job. You can't make this stuff up. It's like a comedy of errors, except the consequences are absolutely tragic.
And that right there is the real kicker. We're not talking about some elite team of hackers here. We're talking about forgotten passwords, busted cameras, and just plain lazy setup. These are routine, totally fixable problems. And honestly, that's what makes it so concerning. It doesn't mean there's a clever enemy out there. It means the system itself just can't get the basics right.
But look, these aren't just technical glitches on some report, right? They have a real and honestly a devastating human cost. Because behind every one of these system failures, there are actual lives, actual families, and actual dreams just hanging in the balance. This quote just hits the nail on the head. When a system like this is broken, it doesn't fail everyone in the same way. For the students who did everything right, who sacrificed for years, it's more than just a bummer. It actively kicks them out of the running, and it makes space for people who found a way to cheat the system.
I mean, just try to put yourself in a student's shoes for a second. You've poured years of your life, thousands of hours into studying. Your family might have spent a small fortune on coaching. For so many of these kids, there's no second chance. They can't afford to just take a year off and try again. So every single one of these so-called routine failures just chips away at their faith that hard work will actually be rewarded. It creates a culture where taking a shortcut starts to look a lot smarter than honest effort.
And this is the giant conflict at the heart of it all. On one side, you've got the promise, right? The idea of a fair exam that rewards merit and hard work, an equal opportunity. But on the other side, you have the reality, a flawed system that basically encourages shortcuts, creates massive distrust, and in the end, pushes out the deserving students it was supposed to help. It's a total mess.
Okay, so it sounds pretty bleak, I know. The problems are crystal clear. But here's the good news. People noticed, and all these findings have actually led to a real mandate for action.
So, in response to all this, the Education Ministry basically went to the National Testing Agency, the NTA, the folks in charge, and said, all right, guys, this has to stop. They've been given a clear order for a complete, top-to-bottom overhaul. The directive is simple. Get back to basics and get them right.
And the plan for 2026 is super straightforward, designed to fix every single failure we've been talking about. Step 1, rebuild all the CCTV systems from the ground up. Step 2, actually point the cameras where they need to be, not at the ceiling. Step 3, make sure the live feeds are, live and accessible to the people who are paid to watch them. And finally, Step 4, get tough with on-the-ground oversight at the centers. It is a total back-to-basics mission.
So, this brings us to the big picture, right? The final and maybe the most important question of all.
As India starts to fix all these technical things, what is the real test that the system is facing?
Because this whole thing is so much bigger than just one exam. Think about it. If you can't even trust the very first test, the one that gets you in the door, then what's the value of the degree you get at the end? In a job market that's already overcrowded and super competitive, trust is everything. And if that trust is broken at the very foundation, the entire qualification could become worthless.
And really, that's what it all boils down to. The whole point of an exam is to be a challenge, to be a filter, to really test what a candidate knows. But when the system itself is full of holes, it stops being a test. It just becomes this broken process that lets people pass through. So yeah, the real test here isn't just for the students anymore. It's for the system itself. Can it prove that it is fair, that it is competent, and that it is truly worthy of the trust that millions of people place in it every single year?